Corinthians 12 and 9. And then Psalm 138 and 8. So that's 2 Corinthians 12 and 9 and Psalm 138 and 8. 2 Corinthians 12 and 9 reads, "And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me." Psalms 138 and 8 reads, "The Lord will perfect that which concerneth me. Thy mercy, O Lord, endureth forever. Forsake not the works of thy own hands." Y'all may be seated. Amen. And God kind of placed something in my spirit when we had Kate Spade, and then the other one, the Bourdain, when they committed suicide. And I was just so like tormented and torn, like, God, what is going on? And so as I was thinking, and I'm going to ask you this question, is how are you measuring success? How are you measuring success? What are you chasing after? What are your goals based on? What is your purpose based on? What drives you? What's really driving you for success? And as I look up the word success, it reads, the accomplishment of an aim or purpose, the attainment of popularity or profit, a person or thing that achieves desired aims or attains prosperity. So most of us are looking for to obtain something, right? So my question is, what are you looking to obtain? For most of us, our strive for success is based on worldly concepts. And we assume to be successful based on worldly principles. If you see someone that is wealthy, you associate that with a successful person. If you see someone that has a high position, you associate that with success, right? If you see someone that has a certain status, a lot of us review that as success. And then what we end up doing is we see that and we aim, everything that we do is focus to have that level of success like that person, right? We want that money. We want recognition. We want notoriety. We want to be recognized amongst people. We want our peers to look up to us, right? And we do all of that, but that is not necessarily the godly concept of success. And that's, I think, where we get it all twisted. Yes, sir. And I think, and I'm not saying totality what went on when they committed suicide, but they had so many pressures of the world, of what the world thought, how the world thought of them, yes, how they was comparing themselves to things of the world. Jesus. But when Paul was speaking, is that I will perfect you in your weakness. So it's like, oh, wait a minute now. We don't want to. That's not success. Weakness and success, that's an oxymoron, right? Yes. How can I be weak and yet be successful? How can I not have these things? And weakness. So weakness is like when we think of strength, but weakness. I don't have what that other person has. I don't have that wealth. I don't have that knowledge. I don't have that talent. I don't have that skill. I can't speak the way they speak. I don't have the resources to buy the things that they buy, right? I don't have the power or the influence that they have. When they speak, when they walk in the room, they get recognized. I don't have that. So that's weakness. I'm seeing it as the weakness. I don't have that. I don't have that. So I'm not successful in that area, right? And I can't be, and a lot of us think I can't be successful in that area because I don't have those things. And again, we are too worldly minded. We are too thinking like the world. We are chasing after what the world is chasing after. We are thinking how the world thinks, and we really have to be we have to transform our mind. Because the scripture said, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. So the thing is that you within yourself may not have all those abilities within yourself. But God has a purpose and a plan for you. And in spite of whatever it is that you think that you're not capable of doing, if God has purposed you to do it, then it shall get done. Amen. Through Him, not through your abilities. Psalms 13, 138 and 8 says, the Lord will perfect that which concerneth me. O Lord, endure it forever. Forsake not the works of thy hands. So God is not going to forsake you. He's going to perfect you. God is going to perfect you. Perfect. Having all the required or desired elements, qualities or characteristics, as good as it is possible to be. Absolute completeness. Make something completely free from faults or defects, or as close to such as a condition as possible. But the thing is that, again, we're looking at things with our worldly eyes and our worldly minds, and we're saying, okay, I know what the scripture says, but I don't have the ability to do that. I can't do that. So what we're saying is God is a liar. That's basically what we're saying. If you have been tasked and called to do something, but yet you're not doing it, or you feel you're not capable of doing it, you're saying, God, I know what you say, but I don't believe you, or that's a lie. Nobody wants to say that, right? God, that's a lie. But you can do it. But God, I can't read that well. I'm going to give you the power. That's a lie. I can't even see that's possible. Because when I look at other people in the world, I see X, Y, Z. I can't do that. God, you're a lie. You're going to have this, God, I don't have the finances to do what it is that you're telling me to do. I just don't have the finances. I don't have the finances to do what you told me to do. God said, my grace is made perfect in your weakness. What your weakness is, you don't have the finances. But I'm going to give you favor. Yes. My grace shall make you perfect in your weakness. Amen. So you don't have something, so one may consider that to be a weakness. But God is going to make your situation perfect. Yes. God is going to make your situation perfect. Having all the required and desirable elements and qualities and characteristics as good as it is possible. So God is going to give you everything if you rely on Him. But see, our problem is we just so much focus on what we see and the world. Yes, God. We're so focused on what the world looks like and not what our God can do. That's what we're focused on. That's what we do. Let's go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah 1. And I'm going to start with verse 4. The word of the Lord came to me saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. So here, God is speaking to the prophet Jeremiah. He was a young boy that was set out to do a big task. He was set out to speak to his people and tell them about what it is that they're doing wrong. And here God says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. So I'm going to look at you. And I wish you guys had a mirror. Before I formed you, I knew you. Before I formed you, I knew you. I knew everything about you. I knew your body shape. I knew your facial structures. I knew your features. I knew how you would look. I knew what abilities you would have. I knew what talents you would have. I knew you. But we're saying, God, I know you knew me, but maybe you didn't see what I see. That's basically what you're saying. Maybe you don't see what I see. Jesus. God, I trust you, but you're a liar. That's basically what we're saying. That's basically what we're saying, because we look at ourselves and seeing that we're not capable. We're looking at ourselves and saying that we're not pretty enough. We're looking at ourselves and say, I don't like the way I'm built. I don't like that I don't have this. I don't like that I don't have that. God, why did you create me this way? Oh, man. Why didn't you give me this or that? Oh, wow. How many of us have said that? So God, your plan is not perfect. You are not perfect, God, because look at me. Jesus. Oh, wow. So basically you're looking at yourself and saying, I'm not perfect. That's true. That's basically what you're saying. God, what you created is not perfect. Jesus. And we attach to something else which we believe to be perfect. Wow. And we want to be that and not what God has created us to be. That's very good. Wow. That's right. Before I knew you, before I formed you, I knew you. In your weakness, I will make you perfect. In your weakness, I will make you perfect. In your weakness, I will make you perfect. In your no butt, no boobs, I will make you perfect. I'm not talking to you. In your short hair, I will make you perfect. In your dark skin, I will make you perfect. With the pimples on your face, I will make you perfect. Before I formed you, I knew you. Yes. Before I formed you, I knew you. I knew what you would be like. I knew every feature, every characteristic, every personality thing that you have. I knew. I knew. But if I could just be like Joyce, if I could just be like Pastor, if I could just have what she has. So what you're saying is, God, your plan's not perfect, because look at me. But before I knew you, before I formed you, I knew you. And in your weakness, I will make you perfect. So, God says to Jeremiah, Jeremiah says to God, "O sovereign Lord, I said, I do not know how to speak. I am only a child." But the Lord said to me, "Do not say, I am only a child. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. Do not be afraid of them, for I am with you and will rescue you, declares the Lord." Then the Lord reached out his hand and touched my mouth and said to me, "Now I have to put my words in your mouth." See, today I appoint you over nations and kingdoms to uproot and tear down, to destroy and overthrow, to build and to plant.
Wow, come on.
The Lord reached out and touched him.
Come on, Zaya.
And put power in him. Put his words in him. The Lord has reached out and touched you. The Lord has reached out and touched you. The Lord has reached out and touched you. So what you considered weaknesses, the Lord has reached out and touched you and given you the ability and the power to do what it is that you have to do. In spite of what you may call weaknesses.
Yes, God. Thank you, Jesus.
Yes, God.
God has purposed you for something.
Yes, thank you, God.
God has called you to do something.
Yes, he has.
And God's will is perfect. His plan is perfect.
Yes, it is.
And if you don't even know that exact thing, what you need to do is just obey.
Yes. Yes.
Live according to the principles set by God. Live the example that Jesus has set on this earth. And wait for your purpose if you don't know that way to come.
Yes.
But you know God has called you to be holy. You know God has called you to be obedient. You know God has called you to follow him. You know God has called you to live a certain standard. So if you know nothing else, you know that. So do what you know and wait till God downloads some more. But now we use too many excuses. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, so what are you doing? Nothing.
Jesus.
And some of us, the truth be told, I'm going to get it in where I can get it in.
Come on. Yes.
But God has called us
Come on.
to do some things. And here's the thing is that before you were formed, I knew you. So he knew you. And the thing is that we are not all on the same level, right? We do not all have the same abilities,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
What God has graced you to do, he has not graced me to do.
Amen.
The talent he has given you, he has not given me.
Amen.
The looks he has given you, he has not given me. And vice versa.
Amen.
But yet, God tells me that he will perfect me.
Yes, God. Thank you.
And he will not deny the work of his hands.
Jesus.
You are a work of his hands. You are a work of his hands. So many of us are in this state. So many of us are in this state of depression, of self-reflection, of self-pity, of all these things because we are too much comparing ourselves to the world. All right. So we are too much comparing ourselves to the world. We're too much looking at what other people are doing and saying, oh God, if I can only be like that. And then the thing is only you knew. And the thing is, if you had them, could you handle it?
Yes.
Could you handle all the things? There's something to come with all of that.
Yes.
Jesus.
And you might not even be ready for it. You might not even be ready for it. Even if, and some reason God has me on like the very superficial, like the physical appearances and stuff like that. For some of us, truth be told, we couldn't handle being that drop dead gorgeous and still hold on to our holiness. Because with that comes some things as well. It comes different kinds of attention. It comes different kinds of temptation. It comes a humbling that you have to get in your spirit because now, people look at you and now you're thinking, oh, I'm just all that. I'm this, and that. So God said, you know what? I got more work. I got more work for them to do. I have work. I have work for you to do.
Yes.
And you don't need that distraction.
Yes.
You don't need that. You think you can handle that, but you can't. You can't. You think you get yourself in trouble now. If I would have gave you X, Y, Z. You think you want all of that. You think you want to look a certain kind of way. But with that comes some things. And I need you to focus. And I need you to remain holy.
Yes.
And you're not able to handle it.
Thank you, God.
You're not able to handle it.
Say it.
You're not able to handle all that temptation. You're not going to able to remain humble. And not esteem yourself so much higher, because that's what man would do, right?
Yeah.
Man would say, oh, you're so great, you're so beautiful, you're so this, you're so that. And you have to remain a humble, some person in spite of all of that, right?
Yes.
And for some of us, you ever seen some people and you say, oh, like they say, oh, like, oh, you're not worthy to speak to me. No. You ever seen people like that? Because they just so souped up and this and that.
Right.
You're not ready for that. So the thing is, God wants you to work with what you have.
Thank you, God.
And He will perfect it.
Come on, yes.
Everything that you have. Everything that you have. Your insides and your outsides. Right? Now there are some things that we do, can, and sometimes need to perfect, because there are some things in us and with us and body shapes or whatever that we probably participate in some gluttony. And so, God wasn't really intended for us to be that way. So we can get in shape, be a little more healthier. But even when that, you're still the basic frame of you is still going to be the same.
Amen.
It's just going to be fine-tuned and fit.
Come on.
Which is how God wants us. It's how He wants our spiritual life too. Fine-tuned and fit. So if you're aiming to be fine-tuned and fit physically, that falls in line with the Word and how God wants you to be. But if you want to enhance something that's not there, that God didn't intend for it to be there, then that's not what God has intended for you. And no matter what you do, that's not gonna be you, because that's not what God has raised you for. Matthew 25, the parables of the talents. And that's 25 verse 14. And it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his property to them. So there's things that God has entrusted to you. There's property that God has entrusted to you. There's plans and goals that God has entrusted to you.
Wow.
God has given you things. Your body, God has entrusted to you.
Jesus.
Your skills, God has entrusted to you. To one, He gave 5 talents of money. To another, 2 talents. And to another, 1 talent. Wait a minute, let me see. Okay. To the one He gave 5 talents of money, to another 2 talents, and in another 1 talent, each, according to his ability.
Jesus. Wow.
according to his ability.
Ability. Wow.
Before I formed you, I knew you.
Jesus. Come on.
Before I formed you, I knew you. Let's go back to that. Before I formed you, I knew you. I knew your capabilities. I knew what you were able to do. I knew what you were able to handle. I knew the purpose and the plan that I had for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yes.
Because God give us abilities, right?
Amen.
Now he can enhance, he can just strengthen, and he
Yes.
can also
Yes.
increase or add.
Jesus.
Amen.
But it's according to the abilities that he gave you. So he said he gave people talents according to their abilities.
Jesus Christ.
Now, and it was a variation, right? One person got 5. Why he get 5?
Jesus.
Why she get all of that? Why she gotta be the one with everything? I got nothing. Why she gotta be the one?
Jesus. Wow.
Why she was blessed with all that?
Wow. Wow.
And I wasn't.
Wow.
Why do they have the nice house?
Jesus.
Why did they did that job? How many of us do that, right?
Come on.
And why do we do that? Because how are you measuring success?
Jesus.
How are you measuring success? The fact that you're longing for that and craving for that, envying or envy is a sin, by the way. You're envying after that. You're jealous about that. Jealousy is a sin, by the way.
Come on.
Yes.
Come on, James.
How many of us have that in us because we're not satisfied with the talents?
Jesus. Wow.
God made you. I knew you. I formed you. And I will perfect you how I see fit to perfect. Because my plan is perfect and I know what's good for you. This is what we preach, right? This is what's in the Bible, right?
Yes.
But God, why me though?
Yes. Come on. Jesus.
Why couldn't I have been the one endowed with all the greatness?
Jesus.
And we're still so focused. And we want all of that. Why?
Right. Right. Come on.
We want all of that. Why?
Jesus.
Why do we want it?
Wow.
We want all that for what reason?
Wow.
Why do we want it?
Wow.
Why do we want it?
Wow.
Why do we want the success?
Wow.
Why do we want us to appear to be successful? For what purpose?
Jesus.
Is it for his glory?
Come on.
Come on.
Is it so he can get the glory, for him to be glorified?
Come on. Jesus. Thank you.
Why do we want to look a certain way? Why?
Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
So God can be glorified?
Jesus.
Because he said everything I created was beautiful.
Yes. It was good. Yes.
Lord have mercy.
So why do we want these things?
God.
What worldly concept are we attaching to that we have had so deeply embedded in us?
Come on.
Come on. All the way.
I want this job because it looks this way. Why?
Jesus.
Why? Right?
Yes.
You know, and the way the world is made, right?
Jesus Christ.
And the way things are structured. I'm not even talking economic. I'm just talking about just the functioning of the world, the functioning of the church, the functioning and purpose, right? Someone has to be in charge, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
To give direction.
Yes.
And then, because you have a business, a church, anything, you know, what's our purpose? What are we here for? Right? Prayerfully, they get it from God. I give it to them, the devil. There's leaders, right? And then within that, then someone has to do the work.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The work has to be done from each and every level.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
From the executive level
Yes.
of making the decisions, and then from managing, from going out and doing the work, from the minute level from now we're in the building, someone has to clean it.
Come
Jesus.
on. Come on.
Amen.
Come on.
We have Target and Walmart, and we like going to Target and Walmart. Someone has to work there.
Yes.
Right.
Someone has to work there. Right?
Amen.
And then what it is that we need someone to actually, when we go there, we don't want someone to be like, oh, well, I've only been here. Because most of us like, oh, this is just I'm just passing through here. This is just what I'm doing. I'm just going on to something else. So they're only there for like 6 months, and then 6 months later, 6 months later. So what ends up happening is you go there, excuse me, sir, excuse me, ma'am, can you tell me how to get to such and such, such and such? Oh, I just got training. I don't know how to do this. I'm just got, I don't know, ask person. What if everyone in that function and place you went was just passing through there? And they didn't really know how to do it, and as soon as they learn something, they're going, they got to train someone else. So imagine if it functioned that way, right? When you go there, would you be satisfied with the service?
Wow. No.
Would you be like, goodness, they don't know nothing?
Yeah.
So someone has to do that job.
Yes.
And see, the thing is that, and God really just downloaded this to me, is that we're so worldly minded, right? On success and wealth and all those things. And it's not wrong to have those things, because God said He will prosper you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But what are we measuring prosperity against? What do we consider prosperity? Because someone has to do these jobs.
Amen.
And it says here, one person got 5, one person got 2, one person just got 1 ability, 1.
Yes, ma'am.
But with that 1, you have to do
Amen.
what it is that
Come
God
on.
has purposed you
Come on.
to do. To the best of your ability, with a spirit of excellence.
Yes, God.
So 1, we can't no longer look down on that person. And I've been guilty of that.
Jesus.
When you're saying, oh, really, you work? Oh, is that what you really want to do?
Right.
Oh, that's where we're staying? Oh, well, if that's what you want to do.
Right.
Jesus.
Right.
Come on.
What if they were just as happy
Come on.
Yes.
and content?
Yes, ma'am.
Amen.
And the thing is we condemn those people,
Jesus.
saying they're underachievers, they don't have no goals, they don't have no values. You know, when we look down on them, oh, poor you have no abilities. I'm guilty. God forgive me. God forgive me. God forgive me. God forgive me.
Jesus.
God forgive me. You know the girl that I used to work with at Ward Rogers? She's still there, and she ain't even a manager yet.
Jesus.
And I looked at her. And then, like, thought bad of her, like, oh,
Jesus.
well, why did she? She could have been just the happiest.
Come on, yeah.
Full of joy and peace and comfort.
Jesus.
Her needs were supplied.
Yeah.
She can go where she wanted to go. Right?
Yeah.
But we look down on those people, right?
Jesus.
But again, God says He gives us all different abilities. We all have different stations. We all have different positions. We all have different purposes. We all have different things to do. If everyone was here,
Jesus. Come on.
if everyone was here, who's going to do all the work and stuff that needs to be done here? If you look at the structure of the world, you look at the structure of the church, if you look at the structure of everything, someone has to be here and do the work.
Amen.
Amen.
And the fact that you're here,
Amen.
if God has called you to be here,
Ma.
it's not a bad thing.
Amen. Thank you.
It's not a bad thing.
Thank you, Jesus.
If that's where God has called you
Amen.
to be.
Amen. Where He has called you. Jesus.
Wow.
Now, for some of us, we're here because we're hiding.
Jesus.
And we don't want to do something else. And we're comfortable here. And God is saying it's time to move here.
Jesus.
And it's time to move here. You're saying no. Because I'm comfortable here. I know everything here. And I'm not going anywhere. But then there's other, it's like, I need you to stay here and be stable and the rock and show everyone else how to reside here. See your purpose and your plan. So when someone else come on, oh, go to such a, they've been here for X amount of years. They know everything.
Jesus.
They know how to run everything. Matter of fact, I've been person, this person here trained me.
Jesus. Come on.
Jesus.
Come on.
On the functions of what to do because they knew everything.
Amen.
And they were happy and content. Well, you know what? I want to go manager. I'm good right here. But see, the thing is that we have to be in tune with what God wants us to do.
Yes. Yes.
Hallelujah, Jesus.
Yes, God.
We're so worldly focused. I'm telling you, that right there just hit me so hard just now.
Thank you, God.
Because I'm that person. Like, we stand right there. Okay, that's what you want.
Jesus.
Right?
Jesus.
But then I really have to think too, because I had an issue when I left my job. My title was senior manager, right? So I had people reporting me, whatever. Now, depending on who refers to me, some people call me a secretary. Some people call me assistant. Some people call me a scheduler. But it definitely don't sound as good as senior manager.
Come on.
Senior manager sound good, right? It's like, ooh, she's senior too. She ain't just like, she's a senior manager. And at a point, I really had to start like repenting again because I cared about that.
Come on.
Because then people will come in and they're coming to the meetings and they're directors or whatever. And I can tell them, well, you know, I used to be a manager.
See, come on.
Yeah, you know, I used to be. Well, you know, I'm here now, but let me tell you something, boo-boo. I'm smart too. Because I used to do this.
Come on.
Why do I have to do that? Why do I have to do that?
Come on. Yes, ma'am.
Why do I have to do that? Why do we feel the need to do that? Why do we do that? Because we don't want to feel lesser, right?
Yes.
According to the world or whatever.
Yes.
So we really have to think about like our goals and our motives. I'm telling you, I'm repenting, I'm preaching to myself. Because all these words coming out of my mouth right now as I'm speaking. So God is like, I'm gonna give you a word for them and for you too. Do it, Jesus. I'm about to just lay down and repent. God, I'm so sorry. Lord, I'm sorry. Thank you for showing me through me. I was just sitting there like, y'all. But we really just have to think about that, right?
Amen. Thank you, Jesus.
And really think about our positions in life, right? And see, as we go on into the story of Matthew, it talks about the different talents and what the person did with it, right? The person with the 5 talents increased, the person with the 2 talents increased. But then the person with the 1 talent, right? Because they only got 1 talent, they went, and they was like, you know, they went and they didn't do nothing with it.
Yeah.
They didn't put forth any work. They didn't do anything. They buried it. Just to hold on to it.
Jesus.
So, how many of us have some talents, and based on our position, right? There's so many people, right? They're in certain positions, right? And then they're down, and they was like, I know what they should do. Get the manager.
Oh, my Jesus.
I'm not telling them nothing because they should know what to do.
Come on.
She the supervisor. How many of us said that? Oh, I know what they should do, but she the supervisor. I'm taking this time, I'm burying it.
Jesus.
How many of us been guilty of that? I'm not helping them do that. I'm not doing that. They should know. They don't want to make it all the money.
Come on.
If I had their paycheck, give me their paycheck, then I'll do that too.
Come on. Come on.
Yes.
But what God, what this in this parable and what the talents is, what God wants us to do is, regardless of your position, regardless of where you are, what God has given you, He will perfect, and you should use it to the best of your ability. Not looking what anyone else is doing. You do the work of what God has purposed you to do.
Amen.
Come on, Taylor.
Amen.
You'll do the work of what God has purposed you to do. Even here.
Amen.
Amen.
Even here.
Yes. Amen.
And people who are here have to not look down on the people who are here.
Come
Yes.
on, free.
Yes. Amen.
Because we need them.
That's right.
And we need them.
Amen.
Let them be gone.
Yes.
And see what happens. Let all the workers go on strike in Walmart. Let the janitors go on strike.
Jesus.
Let them go on strike. Everybody be walking. How would we feel? We'll be upset, right? Let everybody in the church want to be up front.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
You lay down like, can I get a tissue from something? Oh no, I'm too good to be an usher now. I'm up here. I can't be an usher. I can't be a helper. I can't be a person of help. Cause God anointed me to be better than that. My anointing is better than that.
You better.
I'm not anointed for that.
Come on, Taylor.
But that's the position that God placed you in. That's the position God placed you in.
Yes.
Right.
And let me tell you something. So, I know somebody. I know somebody. So, they really, to me, I don't think they really made a whole lot, right? And sometimes they weren't even like employed sometimes. But I just look on Facebook, I'm like, how they going there? How they doing that? They just here, they there, they traveling, they doing all these different things. I'm like, oh. But see, that's the thing. Is that God
Come on.
will make you perfect
Jesus.
in your weakness.
Yes, ma'am.
Jesus.
Wow.
So even what you think you're lacking,
My God.
somehow, I don't know how I'm able to do this, but we're able to go on vacation.
Come on.
Jesus. Come on.
You ever see someone be like, how they have a house? And then you get some of them, it's like when they retire, they didn't have these big positions. They didn't have real important jobs or anything like that. I know people that retired and they were like janitorial services and this and that. And they just as comfortable and good in retirement.
Come on.
Because
Thank you, God.
they took that talent
You better
and
come
they
on.
worked it
Yes.
and they did what they were supposed to do. They followed the principles that God had set aside. So even though the world didn't have plenty,
Yeah.
they are quite comfortable.
Come on. Say that.
Come on.
More so than the person with all the money who just squanders it all. But see, we just have to realize our position.
Yes, God.
Realize what God has called us to. Realize that before He formed us, He knew us.
Thank you, God.
His plan is perfect.
Yes, God.
He is not a liar.
Come on.
Jesus.
He will make you perfect in all of your weaknesses. And all of your I can't.
Wow.
Yeah, you can't. But through Him you can.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You ever seen someone and you be like, how did they get her? Or how did she get him?
Come on.
Right? And the thing is that person who we look down on, but the thing too is though that person is, and let me tell you something. There's someone else I know. she's not the most beautiful thing, right? Everyone said, you know, some not nice stuff.
Right.
Her husband is decent, right? He's decent. But I tell you what, though, in his eye,
Come on. All right.
Yes.
Come on. That is the most beautiful
in the world, no matter what nobody says, I even say, oh, look at him. And then somebody come and say, with her ugly self. I heard people say that. I'm just being real. We heard people say that, right? But guess what? Her ugly self got everything that you desire. Amen. And that no matter what walks by, she is the most beautiful thing. You go on Facebook, he is protesting his love for her, taking pictures and just posting it, multiple pictures of her, no matter what anyone else thinks.
Come on.
This is my wife and she's beautiful.
That's
And
right.
I love her. I love her no matter what because she is gorgeous.
Amen. Amen.
Not what the world stands, but see, that's what God will make you perfect in your weakness.
Amen.
In your perceived weakness, shall I say.
Jesus.
Perceived weakness. Perceived weakness.
Wow. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Come on.
But the thing is that we have to start, see, we're begrudging what God has formed. We're looking at ourselves as like, God, if only you would have made me differently,
Jesus.
I will be able to do all this stuff.
Wow.
I will be happier. I will be married. He would love me. All these different things we want. But I don't know why I'm just on the superficial. This is for somebody too. Because you got the most gorgeous woman. She is the bomb.com. He can't keep a man. Men still cheating on them. I mean the bomb.com. Like everybody, guys be like, oh, if I had her, I wouldn't let her go. But we don't know. See, we want, remember that's what I said now, is we want that. This is what we crave that. This is what we want. We want to be that. We want to be that guy. We want to be the Zenzel or the LL or whoever we think is all that.
Right. Jesus.
We want that ability. We want to walk in the room and people go, right. We want that, right? Why? Let's go back. Let's go back now. Let's go back. But why do we want that?
Right.
Why?
Why though? Like
Why?
why?
Vanity,
Jesus.
right? We're envious, jealousy.
Yeah.
So I need us to begin to embrace what God has created in you.
Amen.
And know that He will perfect you and make you what it is that you have been purposed to do, no matter what position that you are in. You do the best. Be the best personality. And the truth be told is that it's sometimes, and Eric and I were having this conversation yesterday, and I was just so upset. Right? And tell me, we pick on that, right? So I'll tell you, because so we watching the Sports Center yesterday,
All right.
and the guy was on, and I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I even said this. I was like, oh my God, I had to look. I said, oh my God, he looked like we call like the emoji. Oh, and he looked like the poop emoji. I said, oh God. But then I was like, oh God, that's so bad, that's so bad. I was like, you know what, but thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And then, right, I said, I'm just like, who you talking about, Booker? I was like, his name is not Booger. It was like, his name is Booger. I was like, his mother didn't name him Booger. But his nickname is Booger.
That's bad. That's bad.
Everybody know this. If you Google him, that's his nickname. But But see how cool, I'm telling you, I'm just repenting. Right? First I was like, well, God, you know, just thank you so much. I was like, just imagine that person, that your nickname is Booger. Like, you're embracing Booger. Like, I don't want nobody call me no Booger. Oh, that was his nickname, Booger. But that's not his real name. But here's my point. The point of the matter is that we have to, and the thing is that he's probably a really nice person. And guess what? He relevant enough with all his booginess that you can Google him. You can Google him and you know him. He's on TV. God made him relevant enough that everybody know his name. Right. Knows right? He gave him some abilities. And he's probably happy. Amen. And he dressed like, and I've seen some people, and I've seen some people, and this all jokes aside though, is that there are times, right, when God gives you talents and ability and things, again, perfect you in your weakness. In your weakness, or what your perceived weakness is. Because God said that you are beautifully and wonderfully made. Right? But because we live in this world, and the world has standards, and we get so caught up, I get so caught up in what the world considers beautiful. Right? Some of us get so caught up in what the world considers beautiful that we look down on ourselves. We think less of ourselves. We get depressed. We look in the mirror and cry. Some of us don't even look in the mirror. We don't even want to see it. Because you're saying, God, I am not pleased. Amen. Because what you created, I know you created some wonderful things, but this right here is a mess. And I don't like it. Most of us say, as soon as I get some money, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to alter it. Yes, that's true. God said, I will perfect you in your weakness. That even though you think you're this way, I'm going to let everyone know your name. Because you are searching and striving out, you have the characteristics, all your beautiful personality, all of these different things that you have in you, that I'm putting in you, is going to outshine anything else that you may think. And I've known people like that. The way they carry themselves, the way they dress, and everything, the swag or whatever they may have. It's kind of like, they kind of start looking cute. They really do. They can be like, oh. And that's how, even though you think that person just gets the most beautiful person, the supermodel, and genuinely and truly in love. And I'm really trying to, I'm just really trying to get you to embrace who you are. Amen. Who you are. And the other thing too is, we have to not be so concerned about the outside and our outside appearance and what God didn't give us with, what God didn't endow us with, and all these different things. But start working on our true purpose, our true reason for being here, and that is for God to get the glory. Yes. For us to radiate everything that He stands for. Amen. Love, kindness, peace, humility, long-suffering. All of those different things is what we need to embrace. We're so focused on our abilities. What about our person? What about our characteristics? Are we a reflection of God's beauty on the inside? We're so worried about being beautiful on the outside. What our insides look like? What our insides look like? What kind of person are you? What would someone say about your personality and character if they had to describe you?
Jesus.
That's right.
Jesus.
What would they say? I don't care what people say. I don't care what people think of you. But you're supposed to be a reflection of God.
Amen.
You're supposed to exude
Amen.
godly characteristics.
Yes.
So if anything, they should say that, you know, their confidence, they're this, they're that, or, you know, you could be funny, you could be all these different things, you could be, but are you nice? Are you polite? Are you nasty? Are you condescending? Do you have a good spirit? Do you have a good attitude? Are you those things? Do you talk about people? Do you gossip? Do you chop people down? And a lot of times when people chop people down, it's because it's something in them.
That's true.
Like you wanna, like we have this thing. It's like, what is this? He was like, yeah. You try to find someone, right? At least I look better than them.
Jesus.
At least I'm doing better than them. At least I'm making more than them. Hey, how many people they gotta just find someone that's a little not like them or a little less?
Yes.
Why do we do that? Because we're so worldly focused. We're so focused on the world accepting us, the world admiring us,
Yes, God.
and not God.
Wow.
Jesus.
And not being used for His glory. Because you can't be used for His glory no matter what position you're in, no matter where you are, no matter how you think He made you or didn't make you. You are created for His glory. You were created for a purpose. And everything within you, He will perfect you in your weaknesses. If you allow Him to. If you open up and allow Him to.
Thank you, God.
But the thing is that for a lot of us, we don't even want to admit. We don't want to admit because we don't even want to look in the mirror. We don't even want to look in the mirror.
Well,
We don't. I don't care. I'm not doing it. I just want to go on because I don't really want to see it. I really don't want to see it.
what a mighty God.
But see, God want to make us perfect in our weakness, and sometimes He needs us to see it because there are some things that we do need to change.
Jesus. Amen.
There are some things that we do need to fine tune and get fit, both physically and on the inside. We need to get fit. Because He wants us to be fine-tuned and fit. Spiritually and physically. We're not talking about all of it, but fine-tuned and fit, both spiritually and physically. That's how He created us to be.
Yes, God.
Now, anything else, we picked up a whole lot of stuff
Yes.
from being in this world. From being in sin. For before we found Him, the things that we've done. So a lot of things have attached to us.
Jesus.
So God needs us to look in the mirror.
Thank you, God.
Look in the mirror
Hallelujah.
at everything, both your insides and out,
Thank you, God.
and allow Him to begin to perfect your weaknesses,
Amen.
Hallelujah.
to make it perfect. Lord, I need You to perfect my weaknesses. Lord, I need You to perfect my... I looked in the mirror, I was like, oh my God, I have a need to be thought of a certain kind of way. What is that? God, take that out of me.
Yes, that's right.
Because that's not of You. God, I judge people. And I think they should be in a different spot than what You have placed them in or what them to be. And then I make them feel bad for being there.
Jesus.
That's not what God has. That's not it.
Thank you,
So Lord, I just pray right now that we begin to see ourselves.
Yes.
See ourselves for who we are.
Yes.
Embrace who we are with everything, all of our perceived faults and faults and flaws,
Yes, God.
and allow God to perfect it
Yes, God.
and be happy and not misuse the talents and abilities that He has given us. Because each of us have a different measure
Jesus.
of abilities. Let's not envy or be jealous of what someone else has, but embrace what God has placed us and be the best you that you can be.
Amen.
The best person that God has ordained you to be.